Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the React series, Body Language Explained, and all that jazz. My name is Ben Cardle. Thanks for joining us. A little bit about me. If this is the first time to the channel, for you good selves, then I am an author of what's become known as the book on deduction, the monographs. It was a bestseller on Amazon for a while, and is, in a nutshell, if Sherlock Holmes were a real person alive today, what would be in his head to allow him to do what he does? And nowadays, I'm spending my time working with security groups from around the planet on various cases, and training and teaching people how to do this for themselves as well. So I thought we would continue our turn towards exploring these observations for yourselves through many of the mainstream cases that have been brought to light through things like Netflix documentaries and online videos, popular deposition footage, and even exposing some of the things that go on from TV and the films that we like, to try and see what's real and what's not, what can be applied and what's not, and how we can make that work for ourselves. So today we have the Netflix documentary, An American Murder, I believe it's called, something to do with the family next door, which was the case of Chris Watts. Now, at this stage of us analysing this footage, we already know the outcome, right? We know he did it. So the pitfall immediately that we can fall into as a matter of almost bias is for us to attribute every observation that we make towards some semblance of guilt or some semblance of concealment, right? But this really is a further opportunity for us to go back and see what could have been picked up initially the first time. Whether it was or whether it wasn't, we don't know, because well, at this stage I've not actually watched the documentary in full. The video I have for you is kind of a best bits of body camera footage. I'm gonna by the time this comes out, I will have watched it, but we don't know if this kind of stuff is already picked up on in the background. It's not said explicitly, so we're going to get an insight into what sort of deceptive markers there are, how we function and compute that ourselves as readers of people, regardless of whether we are neighbours, friends, policemen, police women, ourselves, you know. But let's not forget at all through doing this. This is a video, you know. We've got the chance to do this with pause, with rewind, with slow motion that doesn't exist in real life. So let's not forget that, and let's not forget that magical C word, context. Right? This is documentary film footage, even though it's from a body camera, it could be tainted with edits and scores and color treatment, you know, designed to evoke particular feelings and particular sentiments at particular moments. But we'll find that out as we come. So make sure that when you're watching this along with me, you are as unbiased as you possibly can be in the reads of the language that you're about to see, and we'll give you some insight into exactly what goes on. And with that in mind, let's go. Okay, so this will be text from a friend then, will it, that we're seeing on the screen?
My name's Nicole, and I'm calling because
Nicole?
I'm concerned about a friend of mine. I dropped her off at her house at 2 in the morning last night, and I haven't been able to get a hold of her this morning, and I've gone to her house, and her car is there, but she won't answer the door, she won't answer phone calls, she won't answer text messages. They have 2 little girls, 3 and 4, I mean, there's no movement in the house whatsoever. What's her name?
So what we get then immediately is a sense for the baseline of Nicole's mate at this stage, Nicole's friend. She doesn't answer phone calls. She doesn't answer texts. From what looks to be, the maybe early afternoon. The time frame on the messages as well that popped up on the screen as part of the edits, we can get a better sense of what time of the day that is. So if they got in at 2, there's the time for sleep, and so she usually answers the phone first thing in the morning, right? So she'll be popular on social media, not popular necessarily, active on social media. She'll be replying to messages through the various channels. Someone who's very well within easy reach, somebody who wouldn't leave the notification up that she'd read the message and then not reply, unless the message called for that. So we get some kind of a sense for the type of activities that go on for this person.
Shanann Watt.
Alrighty, we will have an officer
Shanann
come
Watts.
out that way as soon as we can. I would just advise you, to not try to make entry into the house or anything like that.
So this will be her then?
How you guys doing?
Hi.
You Nicole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on?
So, my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend,
All right.
and I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She was very distraught over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking, and we kept trying to force it on her.
Very distressed over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking. So first port of call then, if that's part of a friendship dynamic, she's going to be concerned immediately about the husband straight away. That's 9 times out of 10 with friends. You get a sense for what goes on in their house, the type of normality they have within their day-to-day actions, what makes sense of part of their normal emotional spectrum, how they display when they're happy, how they display when they're sad. This is all valid information, so she's put forth immediately that some part of that paradigm has shifted, right? So there are problems at home. This will be immediately what's going through the policeman's head.
Shannon, are you home?
She had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9, and she didn't go to the doctor's appointment.
Okay.
Doctor's appointment at 9 this morning. Okay, doctor's appointment at 9 this morning, right? So getting in at 2 a.m., doctor's appointment at 9. It's got to be a pretty important doctor's appointment if you're still going to be okay to go for a business trip and then try and get up a few hours later to go to the doctor's. It's got to be pretty important, not something that you could postpone.
No answer on the phone. Husband's on his way.
Yes.
You can't enter the house unless you see signs of.
Yep. I've got to have more unless I get consent from him to go in.
Doing his job, respectful. I like it.
Could be grandparents came and picked him up. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Left her phone's dead. How you doing? You seen your neighbors today? No? Okay. We're just trying to get a hold of her. Like she wasn't feeling too good.
I like this guy as well. This policeman shows his experience, shows he's looking to keep himself in the driving seat of this scenario, maintain control in terms of not letting emotions run wild, as they really could do within the realms of stress that this guy's feeling as a result of Nicole. I'm going to presume partner, boyfriend, something like that.
Concern.
Is there a key code, Sammy, to open the garage from the outside?
She got to the.
What is it? This is her parents.
Ah, parents. Okay.
Mike, what's the key code the garage? There it's out.
Key card in the garage. Okay, so security conscious family, business trips, pretty wealthy establishment, 2-car garage, 2-car family, different size garages. So dad probably husband, murderer, whatever you want to call him at this stage, probably drives a bigger car. Mum sounds like she smokes, not that that's relevant.
After that.
Well, I can't go in, but if they allow you to go in, I have to have the property owner's permission to enter.
What's
Okay.
going on?
I know nothing about American law in terms of that type of entry requirements that one would need in order to do this type of thing, but the fact that he is so fastidiously sticking to these details would tell you a lot about his experience, right? And his candor and his knowledge that he could bring to the table in this environment. So within this particular situation that could spiral out of control emotionally with a missing person, with children as well, this is the type of guy that you want on the scene. Because look at her, you can see the stress there immediately on her face, as you know, rightly so. But it's all through the policeman.
Okay. We'll keep the property.
Well, they told me Jaden was at a girlfriend's house.
Do we know who that is?
Do we know
Or
who?
phone number?
He didn't say.
Shannon, are you home?
It's a very
Police
clean house
department, if anyone's inside, make yourself known.
with 2 kids. The family next door. There you go.
I'm here. Yeah, get me on the phone. Okay, sit down.
Is this him? Bigger car, yeah.
Scott, how you doing?
Okay.
So this is the only vehicle she would have?
Only one that, yeah.
She would drive? Okay.
Can we go in the house?
We can.
I mean, that's up to him. It's his house. If you guys,
There he is again.
Nikki, I'll give you permission to walk in my daughter's house.
mind if I come in, Chris? Okay.
Like a vampire. Can only come in if he's asked. I like that. Yeah, everything by the book.
Yeah.
We can check in the house for consent.
Oh, my initial thought is, why is he covering the camera? No, he's gone to the radio, hasn't he?
We
Forget
checked
that.
up there. She's not there. I just want to make sure she's not passed out somewhere. Is she diabetic? Her parents are out of state.
Across country, North Carolina.
Oh.
That's weird. Let's go back and look at that again. So before, Chris was wandering around the house looking for, presumably for signs of Shannon. I want to say Shannon. I think that's just probably a different way. In England, it would be Shannon. Miss Watts. Right? The guy's being that he's looking for signs of where she is, where the children are. But as soon as the policeman popped his head in there, he was into the bedroom. He was right in there. What are you doing? Hands in the pockets, shoulders hunched slightly, which is it's a body language dictation of trying not to take up as much room as possible. Emotionally charged, fear, whether something went on in the bedroom then. Of course, this could just be the way that the body camera footage has been put together. There could have been previous contact with the policeman before that puts him in the same room as part of a conversational string. We're just going on what we see here, right? That's 2 explanations for the same thing.
State?
Across
So
country,
you come
North
straight
Carolina.
over.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's not happening.
Security guards, doormen, bouncers, they'll use a similar technique in terms of non-violent crisis intervention, which Chris has employed, whether consciously or unconsciously, right? They will come over to somebody, and instead of physically guiding them away from a potential scenario, potential scene, they'll come over and gesture this way. So they'll come over and start talking and then gesture. The guise being that you should follow suit as part of this conversation that you're having. That's why you build rapport. That's why security guards are traditionally so amiable, because that's their first that's their first weapon, rapport development and understanding, right? That's what he's used here, albeit it looks to be more unconsciously than consciously, but he's definitely walked over towards the bedroom to see what the policeman's up to, and then turned his back as part of the conversation so the policeman follows suit.
All I got was blankets are gone. Their blanket they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
Good.
Did you hear that? Blankies don't leave anywhere without them. Do that bit again.
Her parents are out of state.
Across country, North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's not happening. All I got was blankets are gone. Their blanket they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
The blankies they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them, right? So if you're going to deliver that type of reason, I suppose would be the best word, you would expect, innocent person comes home to find their wife and kids gone. First of all, their stress levels are going to be through the roof. So either this guy is purposely quite controlled because his mind's elsewhere on the crime he just committed. One would expect, if we're making sense of what we've seen so far, was more than likely committed after she was dropped off. Purposely keeping a lid on things, purposely non-emotional. You'd be stressed, running around. Where are your kids? Where's your wife? What's happened? Where are they? Your speech pattern would be clearer. Your speech pattern would be faster. The words that you were saying would be coming out quicker. You would be moving quicker, illustrating quicker. And it would be delivered with much more ferocity. Their blankies have gone. They never leave anywhere without them. This sounds more declarative, as though somebody is delivering part of a planned statement, right? So the kids must be somewhere with the mum, because the mum would know to take the blankies. The kids don't leave home, don't go to sleep without them, right? That's what I would be thinking in that type of scenario. His emotional content, his emotional intelligence is way off. So he's either a psychopath, high-level Asperger's, or, well, there's no or. The psychopath, I suppose, fits with the killing.
Nothing else appears to be missing, though. Just stuff you'd take for a quick trip.
That's leading.
Her phone.
Her phone's here? Yeah, her phone's here.
Does she work?
Yeah, she works from home.
Oh, from home.
She works This Is Her Life.
See, if you look, that was a fortuitous place to stop it there. Look, I don't know, she looks to be looking at the phone, so she's displaying more of the genuine stress levels than he is. Look at his face. There's nothing going on. No interaction in the forehead. If you're looking at signs of wear and tear through emotional displays, I'm quite sort of emotive in this area in my displays, right? Because I do it so often. These will tell you a tale in terms of what goes on in my forehead, right? I'm quite active. Same for anybody. Forehead, eyebrows, you do it enough of when you get to a particular age, so mid-30s or older, right? The action, the collagen wears thin, but nothing for him, right? He clearly works outside. You look at the truck, which would weather skin more, which would make more wrinkles more pronounced. So he's clearly not a very emotive in terms of displays kind of guy anyway. But there's nothing going on there, which is weird. She's pacing.
Okay, that thing turns back on, it's gonna start blowing up. Oh yeah. Trust me.
It was shut down.
Okay.
Can't look the cop in the eye for too long. That's not a good sign. Especially in context with everything else. The pacing, the lack of emotional displays, the virtual declarative parts of the statements that he's made regarding the stories that he's planned in his head. Obviously, we wouldn't know that were we this policeman at this stage, but it would raise certain markers in terms of how we analyse him. There you go. As well, you can see from the smile on his face that it seems to be a genuine smile. You know, there's action in the eyes, but there's nothing in the forehead, so he's not very active in terms of these types of displays and these types of actions, right? Which one would expect from stress and fear and surprise, which you would be displaying naturally in this type of scenario. Gulp. Breath in. Lip compression.
What's she do for work?
Asymmetric gestures. Okay, so that was a mini cluster of anxious tells. The sharp breaths, his throat's drying out. He's starting to keep the mouth closed to keep the moisture within, so it doesn't get to that point where you start to have the way that you're speaking affected, the way that you're swallowing affected, right? The way that your breathing is affected. He's very tense in the chest and the neck as well, so the breathing is all up top. My curtains just moved then, that was weird. But yeah, you can see the difference in those displays right there. He is capable of displaying an emotion on his face, which one would expect from traditional normalcy. You know, what is normal? I get it, right? We all display fear and stress in different ways, but this is purposefully inhibited, which would be concealment, yes, but for what reason at this stage we wouldn't know.
This is her purse?
That's her purse. It's her medication. She takes these, her medication's still in here.
The medication's still in here. Okay. So does she have some kind of psychological issue that he's going to try and blame?
Hey
Lupus.
everybody, so
Not
I'm
lupus.
gonna wait till a couple more people hop on here. And I just want you guys to know a little bit of my
media.
story. I was in a place for a long time where I felt very insecure. I was married, went through a really awful divorce, and that...
Blackout or have seizures or anything like
No,
that?
it's
What?
long.
Oh, okay, that's the cut then, right? Sorry, I didn't know what happened there. That must have been a cut. There's something in between there. So let's go back.
long time where I felt very insecure. I was married, went through a really awful divorce, and that...
Blackout or have seizures or anything like
No,
that?
it's
Okay.
long time ago.
Long time ago.
It
That's
happened.
fine.
She had a car wreck, and I believe that's what happened. But Imitrex is something she takes for migraine. She took more Imitrex this last month than she ever had before, but that's just because she was in North Carolina, maybe, and everything like that. She was there for 6 weeks, and we got back Monday.
So there's no fear. Look at the face. There's no fear. There's no stress. There's no anxiety in terms of fearing for a loved one. Right? There's a lot of action and displays in the lids, but where they are tight, they're only tight in the lower section. Asymmetric again. You can assume from the way it's wrong to assume. I get that, but it would make the most sense in terms of how he stood there, that the hand was in his pocket, so it works in terms of asymmetrical displays, incongruence in his behavior, so his mind's elsewhere.
Tuesday, and then she flew out to Arizona Friday morning,
control,
and then she got back
inhibition.
last night about 2 a.m. Like I delayed. She left
You could be pacifying from the pockets as well.
about 11. She got here at 2.
Oh no, there's accents
I
from
went
the
to work
elbow,
this
so
morning
it's
about
still out. So
5:15, but
there's, if I can put this down, there's still action in this area, so it's still out, but it still works with asymmetrical displays, considering he's spoken a couple of times like this already with two hands. This storytelling, the displays are all wrong. The incongruence isn't there. He's not willing to talk directly to this guy for too long. Not only can he not look at him for more than 3 or 4 seconds, but he can't face him, which, yes, you could argue that the anxiety would be there because his wife and kids are missing, right? Who wouldn't be anxious? But it would be a lot more heightened. If you look in the background as well, there's shots of his wife on the beach, a caricature of their... Okay, so you can start to see how old the kids are. One's maybe 2 years older than the other one, from the look of the size of the kid. But the wife will have very much overcorrected in terms of being very timid and suffered a lot as what she had. She'll have fought to take that back, so she'll be very in your face. It's quite an English colloquialism, but she'll be very confident, which can affect the dynamic between some people. Maybe he didn't like that. Maybe he kept a lid on it.
What do you do?
I work on gas and truck.
What do you do for them?
Operator.
Operator, okay, so physical, outside, oil and gas. A lot of lip licking going on, so he's doing a lot of breathing. His throat's very dry. So his breathing's increased, so there's a lot of increased fear there. But it's been physically inhibited. That's what I would be thinking about looking at him right here. Why are you so conscious of keeping a lid on all of the stress that you're feeling? Because your wife and kids are gone. The stress that you're feeling would be normal. You would have no reason to keep a lid on it unless there's something that you didn't want me to know. So,
There was no note or anything.
wedding ring. So he's carefully he's carefully planned out that story then, in terms of the texts that he was sending, the blankies that were gone, the ring that's on the side, right? That would be a harsh moment of realization that my wife's left me. She's taken the kids. But nothing. It's so controlled. It's so wrong. Let's watch that again. Lips are there again. Bitten, virtually.
There was no...
Asymmetrical, with the hand in the pocket. So he got the physical control of his behaviors. And he's more concerned with presenting it to other people, right? As opposed to what it means to him within the dynamic of his world shifting if his wife did genuinely leave him.
Note or anything by the wedding ring?
No.
Another cut?
Like the normal route that she would be.
Where does she normally go to?
I mean, just like
That
Right.
again. That, right. Mentalists, we do a trick that's, well, it's not a trick, it's a skill, basically. It's known as psychophysiological thought reading, Hellstromism, muscle reading, you're basically reading verbal, non-verbal, physical, non-contact tells in terms of resistance. Usually it's with a hidden object in amongst a few in a room, hot and cold. If you ask somebody to think of something within a room and them to think of whether you're getting hotter as in closer to the thing or colder as if you're moving away, you get to see where they are resistant towards you going towards. Now it's inversely aware in terms of it might be, so if we take this room for example, if one of the basics of practice is you get someone to think of one of the four corners of a room that you're in, just to try and get a sense of how they display. It might be that they are resistant towards you going to three corners and quite okay with you going to one, as a form of a psychological double bluff almost. Or it might be the other way around. It might be that they're okay with you going to three and not okay with you going to one. So we've already seen here already that Chris does not want to go in the bedroom. And here he stops at the side. The policeman's already been inside, shined his torch around, and Chris has leaned up against to place that blocker there. It's a guarding behaviour. He doesn't, something happened in the bedroom. What that was, at this stage, you know, we can answer sort of from a biased standpoint. He probably killed her in there, but at this stage, in terms of if we were in this scenario, we wouldn't know that. So something happened in this room.
For like, make sure we don't take the kids to school. People that I know that live down, people that live, Kristen lives down that way. I mean, that's the only routes I know she would take.
She go to their house frequently, or?
And not much, but. Neighbor over there said he has a camera that sees out on the street.
Guy's got a camera.
Is this on continually recording?
He gets.
Yep. Well,
It's not, is it motion or is it?
event,
Okay, so it's motion.
any motion event that happens, I got.
So
but I
again, look
get-
at that already, right? The logical train of thought. Husband's come home, wife and kids are gone. Neighbour's got security camera footage. He might have caught what was happened. He might have caught what has happened, rather. Now the interest would be, I want to watch this footage. Now, unless he's trying to text Shanann or text other people that that might have a clue of where she is, there would be no reason for him to be on his phone at this stage other than if he doesn't want to watch the footage for fear of what might have been shown. I mean, more importantly, you're showing your interest in it because you're not even willing to face the TV, regardless of whether you're on your phone or not. His interest isn't in this footage. The phone is more of a distraction mechanism, like Miss Heard and her eating.
Cars driving from this street. This is him at 517.
Maybe park out there on the side and do everything, but then be easier to lug everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in.
So he's giving stories again, straight away. Nobody's asked what you're doing. This is him, 517. Boom, I pulled it up because I got all these tools I got to bring in, blah, 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 blah. Right? So what we can say then as the viewer of this, out of the situation, is that dropped off at 2 a.m, 5:17 is leaving. There's the time in which Shanann and the kids were either killed or dumped in the back of the car unconscious to be killed elsewhere. You got the asymmetric shoulder shrug as well that we've fortuitously frozen upon, backed now completely to the television. If you can hear any sound outside, I don't live in a war zone. It's November the 5th today, so the neighbours are letting off fireworks. Pacing. There we go then. So what we can see from before, when he did this, was the asymmetric about the phone being on the side. So we've got a forced display, controlled, incongruence, doesn't really mean it. So from here, either we can argue that this is a genuine display and he's genuinely stressed, thinking that maybe it's catching the footage of his wife leaving him, or he's genuinely stressed because it's caught him doing something. This action...
There isn't any sort of action out there.
On his camera,
I would have got it.
like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that, and I had parked my truck
I have
here.
your mark right here.
Yeah, so someone
See it.
I can see where someone.
Look at that, right? So put it in the dynamic again that most people would have seen, or if you've got kids, you will have experienced yourself. Two kids, one of them's done something wrong. They're both in cahoots to try and keep it away from the parents, right? So rather than get into any sort of punishment questions or questioning techniques to try and figure out what's gone on, who can't look at the incident, right? Who can't face it? You see it in dogs as well. If you ever want to find out who made a mess on the floor, ask who did this. Who can't look at it, right? Because they will sense that type of emotive displays. And the guy in the orange hat has just pointed out, yeah, I've got you. I've got you parked here, or whatever the words were he said. Chris went back round, back to talking to the policeman to try and get his story across about, I don't know, presumably somebody that's trying to nick his tools.
Out of Jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there.
Yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
Lips again. Pacing.
She's pregnant as well.
Whoa! Whoa. What we were saying before about where your stress levels should be if your wife and kids have gone, let's make that a few levels higher if she's pregnant as well, in terms of if this is genuine, if there's no nefarious behavior afoot. What a monster.
How far along?
14, 15 weeks.
Back straight to the TV. I think I saw a little bit of guilt there on his face. Let's move back. There it is. Textbook guilt shame. Finely pressed beard as well. Glasses on his head, looks like he takes care of himself. Maybe she emasculated him one too many times. What a monster. Your wife is pregnant. Sorry, that's just coming from being a parent myself. I don't know the context of the case at the minute, but we're just examining his behavior. Oh, bless her. Look how happy she is. What is that in the background? Tools, handyman, shoes, phone clip, glasses, takes care of himself, super dad. Yeah. Yeah, this is a man that takes care of himself to the point of Machiavellianism.
We did it again. I like that shirt. We did it again. I like.
It's tough to tell with his glasses being on, but that smile, that laugh doesn't sound altogether too happy. although it might be because, as we know from looking at his face as well, he's not very emotive. He's very subdued in his genuine displays. So it might be, but it just doesn't sound that way.
Not sure.
Really?
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. They just said the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know.
Okay, so they have 2 girls then. But look at that. That doesn't look like genuine happiness to me. That looks like a guy he's just learnt to pull up this area of his mouth to fake a smile. Maybe he wanted to leave. Maybe that's what the problems were. She wouldn't eat. Maybe they were having problems. Maybe he was thinking of leaving her.
Just the test.
Why would he kill her then?
Guess when you want to, it happens.
Guess when you want to, it happens. Now, I'm going to confirm that for myself when I watch this later as I'm editing this footage. But that seems to be their relationship in a nutshell right there. I can't see him being very active on social media, unless it's to take a photo of himself at the gym, maybe. But that guy's not happy that she's pregnant again.
Guess what, girls?
Oh, girls as well. Look at that. Oh, they're cute. And that's the end of the video. Well, there we have it, folks. Hope you guys got a good insight into the way that you can examine the anxious behavior of somebody within a particular situation without emotional bias, right? Because we examine that there from our standpoints then as viewers of the television show and what we can figure out about the details of the case moving forward. But we can also examine that in terms of what we could pick up on were we Nicole in that environment, were we the who I'm presuming is her partner, boyfriend, whatever, or maybe even the policeman, you know, this computing level awareness of all of their displays within the particular scenario that's happened, right? But yeah, what a monster, right? What a monster. So yeah, if you were able to pick a few nuggets of information from this, don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment on the video. In between when I do this as well, I might pin a couple of comments in if anything else arises myself, just because that's piqued my interest a bit. I imagine with it being, I think it's a 90-minute documentary, Netflix said, so I imagine there's a lot more details to go there. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and the podcast is still going. Sorry it's taken a while to get some of these videos to you, but I wanted to make sure that was all up and off the ground first, so business can resume as normal at the moment. So yeah, follow us on the podcast. You can get that anywhere you can get podcasts, the Deductionist podcast, and you can join the network on Facebook as well. We're going to be doing live streams in there. You can get involved. But yeah, as England heads into lockdown 2, I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and you're making smart decisions for those around you. Yeah, I'll talk to you all soon, guys. Have a good one.